We will build a great wall along the southern border. And Mexico will pay for the wall.
Let's move on to something, a criticism you made of Secretary Clinton about her speech. At a rally in Sacramento, you accused her of lying about your foreign policy as it relates to expressing support for Japan being able to get nuclear weapons.
100%.
Well, let me just read from you and you explain
sure.
to me. This is from an April 3rd interview with Chris Wallace of Fox News. You said, North Korea has nukes, Japan has a problem with that. I mean, they have a big problem with that. Maybe they would, in fact, be better off if they defend themselves from North Korea. And Chris Wallace says, with nukes, and you say, including with nukes. Yes, including with nukes.
Yeah, but here's what you don't have. Every time I've ever said anything about Japan defending themselves, and again, they're going to have to defend themselves with whatever they're going to have. We right now defend Japan. Japan pays us a small fraction of the cost, a very small fraction. I want them to pay us at least the cost because we don't have.
It's about 50%.
It's actually less than 50%, but a general got on said 50% recently. But even if it was 50%, why aren't they paying us 100%?
You want to be 100%.
Of course they should pay 100%. You're talking about billions and billions of dollars, and you're talking about worse than that. You're talking about World War III. Somebody attacks Japan, and we end up in World War III.
It's a
and by the way,
point,
no, listen to this. If we get attacked, Japan doesn't have to defend us. Okay, that's.
Let's talk about the reason why a lot of Republican leaders say they're expressing such anxiousness these days, and that is your call Monday for a, quote, total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the U.S. There's now some polling information, and you cite polls all the time. You say, what can you go by if not the polls? And a majority of Americans, 58%, reject this call, reject this proposal to ban Muslims from entering the U.S. Now, I know your supporters agree with you, but this is a poll of the American people writ large.
I didn't do it for polls, so I don't even care what the polls say. I didn't do it for polls. Now, my polls happen to have gone up a lot since this announcement. A lot of people thought it would go down. I didn't do it for that reason, but with that being understood, when you're getting a phone call from a polling agency and they're saying, well, you support, the banning of Muslims, etc., do you think they're going to say, who's going to say yes? I don't think the polls are accurate. At the same time, I have many friends that are Muslims, and I will tell you, they are so happy that I did this because they know they have a problem. There is a problem.
Your Muslim friends are happy?
I have many friends and at the highest level, and they're grateful. I have partners that are Muslim. I have unbelievable relationships.
They support a ban on Muslims entering the U.S.
They said, no. They said it's about time that somebody spoke up as to radicalism. You have radicalism in this country. It's here, and it's trying to come through. I just read where ISIS has gotten a hold of a passport printing machine for the migrants to get them into the United States. Now, maybe that's true, maybe it's not. It's an early report. But how crazy are we allowing ourselves to be subject to this kind of terror?
I don't think anyone doubts that radical Islam is a big problem. But I think the question is your proposed solution a good thing or not? Let me just...
Well, in my solution, it's a temporary solution.
Until when?
Obviously, till we get our hands around it. I'll be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. I'll take them back from China, from Japan, from Mexico, which is doing an incredible job. Their leaders are much smarter than our leaders. They're taking tremendous industry. If you look, Nabisco just announced they're building a big plant. They're leaving Chicago. Nabisco, I mean, how American can you get? Nabisco is building a big plant in Mexico. Ford is building a $2.5 billion factory car plant, manufacturing plant for cars, trucks, and parts in Mexico.
How do you keep them?
You keep them by...
The labor's cheap, that's why they go.
For one thing, you keep them by talking to them. But I would say you keep them, if they go there, you know, they'll make cars, and they'll sell them to the United States, no tax, no nothing. Just come right across the border. The next thing you know, they'll have the illegals driving them right across the border. Take them in, drive them in, it's cheaper that way, okay? I mean, you have to talk to these people. You have to go and see the head of Ford.
And they say the labor's cheaper over there.
And you know what? Then we'll say, that's fine. If the labor's cheaper over there, that's good. But you know what? You're going to have to pay a tax to get the cars back in. You're going to have to pay a penalty. And if you put a penalty on, a tariff or whatever you call it, and believe me, China's doing it to us. China dumps all their stuff with us. And I'm not complaining about that. But I have friends that are manufacturers. They cannot get their product into China. So if they're going to do it to us, we have to do it to them.
And they'll say, but then my car's going to cost more for your people.
No, you know what? They're going to make cars here. And maybe a person will buy fewer cars over the course of a lifetime. Who cares? We have to bring back our jobs, Chris. We have to do it. We have no choice.
I hear you, but the question...